If I want to get paid 10K a month as a teacher, I'll share exactly how I would do it. Because if you're teaching full-time and you're feeling overworked and undervalued, you could be earning way more income, having way more impact, and teaching way less. And in this video, I'll share with you exactly how to do it. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to draw out the steps, how to get the math to get to 10K a month teaching online in today's tutoring market. So we'll start off though with the current problem and the reason really why I'm sharing this stats with you in the first place. Because if we look at the current teacher salary, and I'll just take an average teacher salary in the US, which is currently $5,300 per month. Okay, it's even less in the UK, right? So if we say average dollar is 5.3K, yeah? So 5,300 per month is what teachers are getting paid. Now, let's say the average teacher perhaps teaches, maybe they do 4 hours of actual lessons, right, per day, probably 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, whatever, give or take. But you're actually at work, right, from probably 8 in the morning before school starts, right? You need to get them before the students, so the very latest 8. And then you probably leave about 4 o'clock, right? So what's that? That is 8 hours a day. And that's not even mentioning the after-school stuff you're going to do, the clubs you might be doing, extracurricular activities, staff meetings, stuff you'll do in the evenings at home, because we know it doesn't end at the end of the school day, right? But just to be super conservative, we'll just say it's an 8-hour day, okay? So a 40-hour work week. And if you're a teacher, you know it's not a 40-hour work week. But I'm going to play lowball for this. And obviously, it factors out actually worse than what I'm about to show you. So let's say that 40 hours a week and that equals about 160 hours per month. So if we do the math and we do 5,300 divided by 160, let me get my calculator. So 5,300, $33 an hour. Okay, just over, but we'll just say $33, ease of math. So teachers are getting paid on average $33 an hour, okay, based on average US teaching salary. And obviously you might be earning more, you might be earning a little bit less. If you're in the UK, probably earning less than that, but you get the point, right? So that's the first thing, like what are you getting paid per hour? Okay, so there's your average teacher fee or teacher hourly rate. Okay, now as a teacher, the issue is you generally can't scale past that, right? Because it's a salaried job. Okay, so the only way to make more money, okay, is to go out and do other things to make more money, which means, again, you've got to spend more time that you probably don't have. Okay, so here's what generally happens. More and more teachers are realizing, obviously, that the pandemic changed the way that education's going to be delivered forever, right? And a lot of teachers are using it to their advantage to better their teaching careers or transform their teaching careers for the better, okay, by learning how to teach online, okay? However, whilst a lot of teachers are doing that, they're placing a limit on what they can truly achieve as an online teacher, both in terms of impact and income. And I'll show you that right now. So here's what generally happens. So route 2 is the online tutor. Yeah. So generally what will happen here, a tutor will go online, maybe they charge $50, maybe it's $40, maybe it's $25 or £25, whatever country you're in, right? So you've got your hourly teaching fee. And let's just, again, be super conservative. Let's say it's like $40 an hour, okay? So $40 per hour to tutor a student one-on-one, right? So you get paid, you can work from home, come for your own home, teach on your own terms, on Zoom, whatever. You get to teach how you want. You don't have a boss. And so the only way then to make more money, right, is to, take on more students and sell, again, your time, right? So let's say that, obviously you can't teach all day, every day, okay, because students are in school, right? So let's say that at tops you can probably teach like 4 hours in the evening. If you wanted to teach all weekend, obviously you could do as well. if you didn't want to have a life. But let's just say that you teach 4 hours in the evening. Okay, and maybe you do 2 hours on a Friday evening or whatever, and then maybe a 2 on a morning. So we'll just call that like 4 hours across 5 days, works out like that. So 4 times 5 is 20. So let's say you do 20 hours a week. Okay, now if you're doing 20 hours a week, 20 times 40 is what, 800? Oh, let's do it here. 20 times 40. Yeah, cool. All right. Didn't need the calculator for that one. But anyway, 20 times 4 is 800, right? Now let's just times that by 4, obviously, give or take. Okay, so that's going to equal 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, so there you go. You got 3,200 that you can take in teaching 4 hours a day in the evening after school, right? And so that's less than the average teaching salary based on that. So the other thing that you could do is then double your rate. So if you were to, let's cross this up. So let's say that you do that and then you think, right, you know, I'm an expert at what I teach, I'm going to double my rate. I've got amazing results for my students. Why shouldn't I be able to charge more? Which is what a lot of teachers start to do, right? Once they actually get some experience. So now you're charging $80, okay, per hour of tutoring. Okay, so that is no longer going to be 800. That's no longer going to be there. It's going to be the math, 80 times 20, which is going to be like 1,600 a week, right? So 1,600 times 4. Okay, so you're going to get, instead, 1,600, and then times 4 is 6,400. So what you've done here, not only have you cut your actual time in half, right? It's 20 hours instead of 40 hours. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of prep and stuff like that, but remember, there's no commute, there's no staff meetings, there's no extracurricular activities. You probably don't have to work all weekend. And so you're doing a little bit of planning here and there. So let's just say 10 hours a week, so maybe 30. So let's say that was 30 hours a week. Other things you might be working on for your students. So if we divide that by 30, okay, which gives you $53 an hour, right? So based on our last two examples that I've just created for you, you've got option 1, which is teaching in the classroom, average US teaching salary. Remember, you can map this out for your own, okay, your own teacher pay or salary, whatever you're getting paid. So option 1, it worked out to $33 an hour, and we were being conservative, okay? Option 2 is $53 an hour. What are you going to pick, right? You're obviously going to pick this because 1, you get to teach how you want. You get to teach from your own terms, okay, at home. You get to have your own schedule. You get to choose the students that you want to teach as well, okay? You don't have a boss. And so it sounds pretty cool, right? However, there's a ceiling on it. There's only so many students that you can obviously actually work with at this particular point, right? So again, it's a broken model. You're essentially creating a glorified job instead of an actual business that can scale impact, because as a teacher, you want to help more students, and then income without scaling your time. So I'm going to show you a model that I've been using with thousands of teachers, right? Since I launched the Teacher Project, beginning of 2020, that's helping them break past 10K a month pretty fast, okay, using online teaching, okay? And obviously that depends on your skill, tech skills, like your sales skills, a few things like that. But I'm going to show you how it's completely possible. Guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps that I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link You can go and grab some free gifts on me, but I know you're going to love it. Teaching on your own terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments and go and pick up your copy today. So here's what I call the scalable delivery model, where you can scale impact, income without scaling your workload as an online teacher. Okay, so here's what you do. You work in groups of 5. Okay, so you have 5 students. Five students, 2 times sessions a week. And you teach these students, they sign up for a 12-week period. Okay. Now, obviously, you're not just going to be delivering Zoom lessons online and that's going to be it, right? There's a whole host of other things you're going to be doing. You're going to be creating competitions for your students. You're going to be creating a fun learning environment, maybe build a course curriculum, like a study learning portal that they might have alongside their lessons, so you can refer them to some homework. They can watch lesson recordings. So you're not just rocking up on Zoom, right? Like you do need to facilitate a better learning environment. Maybe you've got like a chat group for the parents and this type of stuff. Maybe you've got like a review process in place. But anyway, the actual teaching time, 2 lessons a week. Now, here's what you would generally charge for this. I've seen anywhere from, as a teacher starting out, this depends on your teaching experience, the amount of results you've got for students online. So if you're starting from scratch, you would start on the lower end. If you've already validated that you can teach students online, you've already sold online tutoring packages, you'd start on the higher end and then grow and scale from there once you've proven this. So you'd start about $500, and then this could be pounds as well. You can go up to $1,000. Okay, that's a great starting point for your first few groups as you move into this model. And we've got teachers charging, by the way, a lot of, I've seen a lot of our clients be able to charge 3.5K plus for this model. Okay, so obviously, again, depends on experience, depends on your sales skills, depends on a few factors, the type of student that you're working with, the amount of people you're having in a group, things like that. But it's not uncommon to see that. Okay, now based on this, then that's 5 students. Okay, twice a week. So here, that's 2 hours of teaching per week. Okay, and if then you get 10 students, equals 4 hours. Now you do the math on this. So we'll just use $1,000 as an example. Now let's say that you sell your services as $1,000. Okay, $1,000 or £1,000 for 12 weeks of tutoring. Okay, in a group. Okay, 5 students. Again, you could increase group size. Okay, so if you were to sell 10 packages of online tutoring per month at this rate, 10 times $1,000 obviously equals, okay, 10K. Now here's how you scale this to $100,000 a year. So you now enroll 25 students equals 25K. And you keep those 12-week blocks equals $100,000 a year. Okay, now obviously you've got to retain students. You've got to make sure they get great results, but you're going to keep enrolling students, right? Because at this point, you don't have like a ceiling on your business, right? You're never going to stop growing because you're only teaching. If I show you the math there, if you've got 5 groups times 2 equals 10 hours of teaching per week. Okay. But if you're only actually doing 10 hours of teaching per week, then you've got a whole host of other time to take more sales calls, to enroll new students, to speak with new parents or students that potentially might want to enroll to work with you. You've got more time to do marketing. You've got more time to do like whatever you want to do inside of the business, whether you want to improve your lesson planning, things like that, right? So that is a way more scalable model. Now, what you can do at this point to grow it, you can either, one, teach more. You can teach more hours, okay? You can either raise your rate to increase the revenue. You can go increase group size. Because maybe you just increase it by 2 extra students, or maybe it's another 5, maybe it's 10. I mean, I've got teachers that we've worked with who teach 50 in a group, right? And that's more lecture, older students, of course. So it does depend on the niche and the subject and the age of the students. That's important because you don't want to have too many in a group that you can't fulfill. Or because you're a business owner now, at some point, you're going to be creating more demand because you're advertising your tutoring services. You're going to be able to, at some point, run out of capacity to take more students on so that you don't become the business, right? And you don't create that glorified job. So the whole goal is to start working smarter, not harder. So at that point, because you're helping students, there's going to be other teachers who see what you're doing. They're going to be able to teach some lessons for you, right? So you can hire, just like a normal business. How does a normal business grow? But it has to hire staff members to help it. And so at this point, you can now hire a second teacher, third teacher, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. So you can always start to help more students. So you now elevate yourself to become the business owner. You can now pretty much create a school or academy where you become your own head, you become the head teacher, right? And that way you can help more students, you can increase your income, and you're not scaling your workload. All right, so this is the model that we've worked with teachers. I've actually got a best-selling book, if you stick there, if you haven't picked it up yet, called Teaching on Your Own Terms. Okay, so inside this book, because whilst that's the model and that's how you can easily get to 10K a month and beyond as a teacher teaching online, you need to know how to get the students. You need to be positioned correctly so that you can actually attract the right student that can be grouped together. Okay, it's no good pulling in a student who's got this ability, student who's that age, who wants help with that subject, because then you can't group them, right? It becomes very hard. So the key is to make sure that you can appeal or attract your ideal student, a student who's going to pay you what you deserve. So you've got to have a premium positioned offer inside the marketplace. You've got to then obviously be able to create demand using advertising strategies. You don't want to create complicated websites and be waiting for referrals. And whilst they're good, they're obviously just slow. And you don't want to be just posting on your social media all day, right? So you need to have a fast, predictable way to bring in students. And then you need to make sure you can fulfill in a group. Because like I said, it's not just rocking up and teaching lessons on Zoom. So you're going to need to think about what resources the students have away from the lessons so that you're not spending all of your time marking and planning. You're going to need to think about the community that you build online, because obviously it's not in person. So you need to make sure that parents and students aren't just basing the lessons just of basing the investment just of attending a couple of Zoom lessons a week. You need to create this environment that they love being a part of. And so I detail that all in the book, Teaching on Your Own Terms, everything that you kind of need to put in place to grow your teaching business online and build the online teaching business of your dreams. So if you like the video, got value from it, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like, leave a comment down below. And what I'll do is I'll put the link to the book in the description. It's a bestseller on Amazon. It's been featured in Times Square in New York City by NASDAQ on the billboard there. And yeah, it's a bestseller on Amazon in 7 different categories. So you can go and grab it. There'll be a link in the comments or a link in the description. Go and check it out and you're going to learn a ton more. But here's the model that you just saw on the computer as I was drawing it out. So please subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, grab the book. See you in the next video.